right, what's going on, guys? Bit of selfie mode today. I decided to record one outside. I'm currently in, I don't know if you can see, I'm in Medellin, Colombia. Been here for the past month. I'm living with a few other entrepreneurs in my network. Funny, everyone's inside recording YouTube videos and they're on calls right now, so I was like, all right, I need somewhere more quiet so I can talk to my people. So we're going to be getting into a video today going over team building and all that good stuff, but, another reason why I kind of wanted to do it out here is show you guys, like, I'm quite literally starting to be able to live the dream as far as financial freedom, location freedom, and a big part of how that was possible wasn't necessarily just by starting a business, but it was by getting people on my team, so I am no longer a one-man show. My day-to-day oftentimes now is more sales and marketing oriented, client success oriented, while my team is handling a lot of the day-to-day delivery, and that's really where you want to get at. If you're new to this page, yes, I do AI automation, but really what we're going for is to build an actual consulting firm, and that's where the big boy money is, and that's where the longevity is. A lot of these kids that are selling AI in the AI gold rush right now are going to go under within a couple years, solely because it's going to become a commodity in itself. Similar to how in SMMA, media buying is now something people just hire overseas for, whereas, back when Iman Gadzhi was one of the pioneers in setting up SMMAs, you could make a killing doing it. It's just no longer the same. It's no longer viewed the same. It's seen as a commodity. Anyone can do it. People overseas are doing it. Same thing with funnel building, right? Funnel building used to be a very high leverage task, very impressive task, and if you could do it, people would pay you thousands of dollars for. But now, funnel builders come a dime a dozen. And yeah, there is some art form to funnel building, but a lot of times people are opting to just hiring overseas for that as well. I'm saying that because I don't think, but I know in a few years, AI automation is going to be the same way. The reason I know that is because before I got into running my own business, I worked as a software consultant, right? And a big part of my job was I wasn't a software engineer, I was a software consultant. Well, all that meant was that the company I worked for didn't want to pay me to do coding and software engineering, all that stuff, when they could pay people from India or Argentina, just people overseas, to do it at like a fourth or like a fifth of the cost, right? So the reason I was on board, I was literally the American face. I was the person with the interpersonal skills, the communication skills to talk to the clients, also had a good understanding and grasp of the technicalities. But really the clients would put in tickets with me and I'd push them over to the dev team and then I'd get the info back and I'd give them to the client, right? All that to say, with the AI automation realm of things, AI automations themselves aren't going to keep you afloat for very long. However, if you create a consulting firm out of what you're doing, where you offer AI automations, you offer media buying, you offer funnel building, you offload all of that with a team, and you are the face of it, you're the consultant, that's really what's going to get you to those $1 million months. And I know for some people in conversation that may be far-fetched, but there's one thing I learned: you have to be very forward-thinking and confident. If you don't believe in yourself, how the fuck do you expect anyone else to believe in you, right? Ultimately, what I'm getting at and what I'm going to kind of explain to you guys today, once we transition over to my laptop here, is the importance of a team and how it will allow you to thrive, and it will allow you to have a lot more touch points and communication with your clients, because clients want to feel seen. Of course, they want results as well, obviously, and that's what we act to do here. That's objective number one. But if you can get them results and they feel seen, you're communicating with them, and you're offloading more than just one task, but you're bringing more to the table. In my instance, media buying, funnel building, and funneling all that traffic that we're hands-on generating onto our AI system, that's what's going to keep your business being capable of charging high ticket, because you're not just some surface level dev, but you're a consulting firm, right? Sounding like a broken record at this point, I want to show you guys a quick shot of the view, and then we'll actually get into the video. So if you guys are new to this page, I usually don't like to flex. In fact, I hate that shit. Like when I think of some people, I'm not going to name drop any names, so when I think of some people in like the SMMA industry, the info product industry, even the AI automation industry, a lot of what they do is just flex their cars, flex their nice watches, flex all the shit, and then they're like, buy my course. It's such a slap in the face, especially because a lot of these info products are bullshit anyways. A big part of how I'm trying to go about my brand is to never sell my soul, to never become one of those guys, to continue to provide value, and that's where we're going to do it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, cheeky intro. Let's get into it. So, like I said, title of this video, how to build a profitable team for your AI agency, but honestly for any agency. Like a lot of the team building principles I'll be going over really apply for anything. And I want to start by saying it's not rocket science. A big part of what I do in my hiring process is just make sure that they're capable, they're competent and they have previous experience, and most importantly, that they're smarter than me at what I was already doing before. Otherwise, it's a waste of fucking time. I'll just do it myself, right? I'll get into a little bit about the I'll just do it myself mentality also, because that ended up shooting myself in the foot and kind of remained the business stagnant for a bit. But anyways, to give you kind of a background of what we're going to be going over. So first, we're going to be talking about media buying team. We're going to be talking about a sales team, project manager, AI developers, or whatever service delivery you're running, some sort of deliverer, right? Funnel building team, and that's kind of the stack of 5 that I'm running for an AI agency. A lot of these will apply. Mainly what I'm going to be going over today, of course, is on my agency, because that's where my expertise is. That's where all my experience comes from. So starting off with the media buying team, what we're doing here is we're trafficking leads, we're building out funnels, and with all that traffic that we're generating for these businesses, we're using our AI appointment setter model to push them onto sales calls. So all of the pieces I'm talking about have to work together with the last, and without one piece of the puzzle, everything falls apart. So with the media buying team, they're in charge of editing, developing ad creatives. Another part we'll do with clients, though, I love UGC content, so we'll usually help script up their content as well. That coupled with some still frames, media buying team, pitch them over, they'll do the edits, and they'll actually launch. The benefit of a media buying team is honestly the fact that they'll do continued monitoring, and they'll kill creatives if need be. But honestly, guys, actual media buying itself is not rocket science anymore, especially with the recent Meta and Drama update. A lot of running ads isn't what it used to be as far as the complexity is concerned. Meta made it very easy. So I'm paying my media buyers not because they know some sort of crazy secret. There's no secrets out there. Everything's online. It's really just so I don't have to do it. The biggest pill I had to swallow as a business owner was allowing the team to cut into profit margins for the sake of allowing me to take on more business and ultimately scale, right? The biggest pill I had to swallow with media buying, it's hey, I've been doing media buying myself for 4 years. Why do I need someone else to do it if it's just going to cost me money? But at the end of the day, those extra hours, sometimes if you guys have ever plugged shit into Meta Ads Manager, it takes forever to publish stuff. And then sometimes when you're uploading a new creative, Meta at first will be oh, this doesn't work, or there's an error, even though there's no error, and you just have to refresh or wait for it to load, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, if you're trying to launch 10, 15 creatives, it could burn an hour or 2 of your time. And when it comes to being a CEO, a founder, you need to be focusing on the high leverage tasks. Obviously, that's cliche, but in reality, if I have 10 clients, we're running ads for all of them. In order to publish ads and monitor them, that's going to literally incinerate 10, 12 hours of my time each week. So by paying someone else to do it, ultimately in the long run, it's allowing me to post more videos, take more sales calls, and focus on landing more deals, right? So that's really the scope of work of our media buyer: launching ads, scaling profitable ad sets as well. And again, all scaling means is increasing budget and allowing for more volume. The benefit of our AI system is that it can handle all the volume in the world, and that's why it destroys an appointment setter, a human appointment setter, because once we really start ramping up volume, it's really hard for a human to keep up typically, and that's where AI model just continues to print for us, right? And then planning new ideas. So going back on the recent Meta updates, a big part of continued media buying and not getting complacent, yes, you may have a winning ad creative one week, but it's not going to last forever from what I've seen. Even really good ads over time will get creative exhaustion. So I have a minimum quota that I require my media buyers to hit each month as far as new creatives that we have to introduce. It depends on the overall ad spend. If we're doing $50 a day, usually introduce 2 to 5 creatives. If we're pumping $200, $300 down ad spend for one of our higher leverage clients, in which we're doing 10 grand a month on ads, then it's going to be more 10, 15 ad creatives just because we can afford to. Overall, as far as the percentage allocation, we'll usually do about 80% on our winning creatives just to continue to get business through the door, and we'll put 20, 25% of our allocation towards continued creative testing. Allocation meaning overall ad spend budget for a given day. And that's all there is to it. So as far as hiring media buyers, guys, Upwork is your best friend. For a lot of what I'm going to be going over today, it's going to be either leveraging your network to finding the right people, or going to Upwork, or going to one of those job listing platforms. LinkedIn's a good one as well. Indeed's a good one as well. Handshake's a good one as well. Media buyers come a dime a dozen. That's why I'm saying SMMA is a dying game, because it's a race to the bottom now with people overseas offloading it. That being said, there's so many really good people overseas that are doing this. And when I talk about overseas people, I don't want you guys to get the impression that I hire overseas or businesses are hiring overseas because yeah, it's cheap labor, but a lot of these people are really fucking smart. Even when I worked my old software consulting job, the software engineers that we had on our team were absolute killers. They were geniuses, right? As far as running a lean agency or lean business, especially if it's your first, the last thing you want to do is cut into your profit margins too early. So, outsourcing talent is great, right? So, funnel building, media buying, developers, all this stuff. There's people that studied for this, like, they went to university for this. Maybe not so much media buying, but for like developing or technical skills, right? Is more so what I'm talking about. I know there can be some mixed emotions behind like how people view overseas labor, and I'll get into a bit on the important ones you want to have domestically, but that's kind of the idea there. For Upwork, for instance, we launched a post on Upwork, and we said, hey, we're looking for a media buyer that's capable of doing Meta ads and LinkedIn ads, and we got like 30 applicants. We vetted all of them. For people that barely put in a resume or just half-assed it, immediately disqualified. Cut it down to like, I think we took like 3 or 4 interviews. I quizzed them all to see if they're smarter than me. Again, like, there's not rocket science when it comes to ads nowadays, but just to make sure that they know a thing or two and they have some experience. Bada bing, bada boom, got a killer media buyer on my team. He's been with us ever since. So moving on to a sales theme. So, for me, obviously we do AI appointment setters. So like the service level, like SDR stuff is already offloaded, but a closer is going to be huge. It's funny because I was at a mastermind here in Columbia literally 2 days ago. I gave a presentation of my own going over automations, going over funnel building, ad traffic, all that good stuff. One of the guys that went up, I learned a lot from him. He scaled a business to $30 million in sales, and he's an absolute killer at sales. That's all he does. And he's led teams over 100 people, and he would like train them all on how to like go door to door and do sales. He was doing, he scaled up like a solar company is what he was talking about, right? But I had my whole speech right before him, and he was like, let me guess, you're talking throughout most of your sales calls. Let me guess, you're getting into the technicalities of most of your sales calls. And I was telling him, probably the biggest problem in my business right now, like, the product is fucking killer. The main thing I'm struggling with is my own salesmanship, because I take the sales calls, because in my head I'm like, all right, well, if I take the sales calls, I'll get the best close rate, so I'll continue to do it. But I'm realizing now that I really need to work on my salesmanship, because I'm not letting the prospect talk or vent enough about their own issues, and I'm just trying to show them all the bells and whistles of our product, and it's ultimately leading to me, letting a few leads get by where I could have sold them if I was, I suppose, a better salesman. So that's something that I'm personally working on, right? All that to say, though, something that I've been thinking about recently is the whole mindset of mine, like, oh, I need to take these sales calls because I'll get the highest close rate. I'm the face of the company, so it's important I'm on the call. But I'm realizing, like, if I can get like a killer sales guy, like, like the guy that spoke at the mastermind, if I could get someone at his caliber on my team, shit, it would only take like a month to scale him up to get him to understand the back end side of things. And I think it would really help improve like overall less stress for me not having to always hop on sales calls, but ultimately have someone that has like been fully trained in sales. I'm definitely an avid learner though, nonetheless. I've got a few sales calls lined up this week where I'm going to try to apply some of his principles, some of his tactics, so to speak. So this is definitely probably the biggest work in progress. Full transparency for myself right now is working on my salesmanship. Because like up to this point, I hate being like I don't know. I don't like seeming greedy. I don't like to necessarily collect payments immediately on the call or just try to be price hungry or money hungry. That's just not me. And I'm usually very transparent. And so I think the mindset that I kind of have to break as well is like, okay, I can still be transparent, but I can use like a few tactics or a few like, differences in wording or putting the ball in their court to try to, get them towards, going into business with me a little sooner. Anyways, all that to say though, huge objective you're going to need to offload, especially if you're shitty at sales, is going to be hiring a closer. Out the gate, you can do either base pay or you can do commission basis. It depends on what you negotiate with the guy. But they'll be taking your sales calls, especially if you have Fathom or something to record all your calls. You could even have in their scope of work to write up their proposals for you or use AI to help draft them up, send them over to the client. So where all you're doing is now back end work, cool, we're collecting payments, and then you're greenlighting the rest of the team to get to work on things. And that leads us into the next part, greenlighting the rest of the team, a project manager. So going back to what I was saying about overseas hires, the 2 hires that you need domestically are going to be sales guys, so they speak in the same language. They fully understand everything that's being said. It's going to look really shitty for the brand if you have a guy overseas doing this, unfortunately, just is what it is. Same with the project manager, because a project manager needs to be client-facing. I've hired a U.S. project manager. I hired him just in my network. Very, very smart guy. I was looking for someone that was personable, but also someone that was fucking smart and knew what they were talking about. My guy, he has a major in chemistry, and so, even though like chemistry doesn't apply to AI automations, For anyone that went to university, for anyone that was in pre-med or knows a little bit about that, chemistry is like a awfully miserable degree in my opinion, just because it's so fucking complicated. So for him to have completed that, it tells me a lot about him, right? And on top of that, a lot of his like workplace experience was sales oriented, so I already knew he had good rapport, good communication with clients. Brought him on board, been ramping him up for the last couple months on best practices, a lot of the internal work. And so a big part of his job now is delegating a lot of the day-to-day management of my media buyer, of my sales guy, and of my developers, right? So I already have a formula for how I go about projects. So a lot of it was picking him up to speed on like how we do best practices, team delegation, and then I've introduced him to everyone on the team so he knows what he needs to do. And the best part about a PM or a CSM is another buzzword that people use, client success manager. It's the same shit. I prefer project manager just because I came from like a software consulting background. It's a lot more professional too. But he's client facing. He'll hop on calls with me or for me. He'll send emails on behalf of the company as well. And so clients really like a project manager too, because yes, I still am very active with clients. Specifically with where we're at in the business, like clients like to be reassured that I'm still going to be a direct point of contact. But you know, it goes a long way when you're like on a sales call and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be assigning you a personal project manager that you'll have direct contact with. I'll still be there as a direct line of contact as well. And I'm essentially just trying to position, you know, again, we're not setting up surface level automations, but we're a consulting firm. So when clients see all these, like the fact that we're bringing an army to the table and I have killers for each position that we need, you know, executing on those tasks, that's why they choose us. That's why they choose high ticket. And funny enough, on my sales calls recently, for anyone that gives me shit and like, oh, you guys are way too much, like, you know, I could go overseas and, you know, hire blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, go do that. I literally, I'm at a place now, and again, back to the salesmanship, maybe I need to work on this, but I'm at a place now where I can afford to not take on a client if they're going to be an ass. So, you know, if someone's going to give me shit about price, it's always non-negotiable now because I know what I'm worth, I know what my team is worth, and we have the volume, we have the people that want to work with us to where, you know, if you don't want to, you know, meet us in the middle as far as what we're bringing to the table for the price that we're asking, it's just not worth going into business. Because I'm confident it's like, hey, yeah, if you want to try to build a team to do everything for you off the bat, good luck. It took me like a year and a half to figure all this out, specifically just for this business model. But, you know, I've been in the game for 4 years now when it comes to marketing in general. Anyways, all that to say, project manager has been saving me a lot of time with the day-to-days, so I'm not letting, you know, client replies slip through the cracks or clients just feel a lot more seen. Usually what we do as far as a quota is concerned is try to have at least a weekly touch point with a client that's already gone live, in which we'll report our ad spend, we'll report our AI performance, report how many booked calls we've gotten, and then we'd like to see, like, now on the client side, how much cash they've collected, just so we can monitor a good return on ad spend and see how our overall performance is doing. Project manager is definitely the level up, though. You know, I'm paying this guy pretty penny to keep him on the team, especially because it's got to be competitive for U.S. rates. Nonetheless, like, this is something you don't want to cheap out on. A big thing that I've realized, having hired past talent, different from the team I have now, is you get what you fucking pay for. If you're looking for a bargain, you're going to get some dog shit results. You're going to get some mediocre people. They don't care enough. But if you're willing to put forth a little bit more money, it's going to incentivize them a little more. And what I like to do recently is also include a bit of bonuses or performance. Like, so if the company grows, cool, we're all going to eat. Last thing I want to do is be a shit boss. All right, the next thing on the list is an AI developer. And then if you run a separate agency, just, you know, someone that's doing the groundworks, the deliverer, right? So in my case, I have built out all the AI automations, you know, with everything in the business. I've worn all the fucking hats, so I could theoretically do every piece. So a big part of what an AI developer means to me and their scope of work, I've trained them on my best practices. I've vetted them on how we do our builds. I've given them full education, hopped on tons of calls with them to make sure they understand everything that we're doing here. And now it's gotten to a point where we onboard a new client, greenlight them like, hey, we got a new client, let's set up this build, let's get moving. They'll stress test the build as well for an AI automation. Stress testing means like talking with AI from an appointment setting standpoint, like, you know, seeing how the AI sales agent is going to be conversing and replying, making the prompt engineering edits, and then what they'll do is they'll present to us a few of the like favorable conversations after they've done all their stress testing. To me and the PM, we'll greenlight it, and then we'll pitch it to the client for them to have a chance to test out the conversation flow themselves, make sure they like what we're putting out there and it represents the business well, and then we know we're good to go live. Go live meaning launch ads, plug into their organic streams, plug into Google streams, LinkedIn streams, wherever we're trafficking leads from, we're going live, right? And another cool part about an AI dev, like during a phase where we do go live, is that their work then becomes like weekly monitoring on the conversation flows, checking up on the pipeline, seeing if we need to do any tweaks. when it comes to setting up an AI build, yes, we can do all this stress testing internally in the world, allow the client to test as well, but we're both coming from like bias test cases because we're obviously like, fishing for stuff. Even though I'll usually have a set criteria of questions we need to ask as well to attempt to play hardball, see how the AI is going to handle objections. But there's so much value in live market data to see what an actual unbiased random user is going to say to us, what they're going to tell us, and see if this is favorable or not for what we're going for to try to push them onto a sales call or sales appointment. So a big part of what the dev will do is handle that as well. Stress testing, guys, used to take me fucking hours to do because you have to sit there literally on your phone. Even if you remove a wait stage, you have to sit there on your phone, call up the AI or text the AI back and forth, and then based on the response, go into the knowledge base, edit it accordingly, retest. It takes hours. This has been my favorite part about having a dev. I love my guys. They're so solid at what they do. I got 2 of them on my team right now. Stress testing is like probably one of the most important parts of setting up a proper AI build. It's something that a lot of these smaller fish AI automation agencies don't spend too much time on, and it leads to a shitty product, a shitty results, and unhappy clients. So yeah, that's pretty much from a high level what we got going on there. And then of course, lastly, like technical requests. We usually do most of our builds on Go High Level, so especially if a client has a pre-existing Go High Level account and they're looking for a few feature implementations here and there, we make sure to include those as part of our scope of work just to keep them happy. All right, and then last but not least, this is another pinnacle part to the formula, funnel building team. I have a killer funnel builder on my team. Shout out Div. He's a shooter at building out funnels. Very fast turnaround as well. The most important part, in my opinion, for a good funnel builder, copywriting. We also do some of the copywriting in-house as well. It's important that me and my project manager are hands-on with that as well. And also I have a COO that kind of helps with posting videos. Anytime a YouTube video posts, that's not me. I sit here, record, and after that, it's my editing team, it's my COO, and they handle all the rest, right? I hope you guys can kind of see a bbig part of what I've done here is build an army to do everything for me so that I can focus on important things like recording YouTube videos for you guys, handling the high leverage tasks of getting clients to sign. Of course, I am every once in a while still in the weeds on technical things, and I enjoy the technical side of things, right? I built this whole brand off of being technical, right? And I hope you guys can see on some of my other YouTube videos even, compared to some of these other guys. I know, we're going over a whiteboard video today, but a lot of the other videos I post, I'm actually getting the weeds on some shit and showing you guys some actual tangible, things you can apply to your own business, whereas a lot of competitors in the AI space aren't. So that's, again, how I'm trying to go against the grain and actually provide some value. As Alex Hormozi once said, give all the information away for free, sell the implementation. I'm living by that, dying by that. So anyways, with the funnel builder, we're building out the copy. He's setting up the funnel for us. Oh, I kind of got sidetracked. The most important thing I look for in a funnel builder is someone that's artistic, right? We can set up the copy, yeah, but we need someone that has the finesse and can make things look pretty, make them look good, add some cool animations on there if need be. I see things in black and white. What I mean by that is I see things in ones and zeros. I'm a numbers guy. I'm very technical. And fully transparent, one of my weaknesses, I'm not very artistic. So when it came to even originally building out funnels, my current COO, he's the one who builds my thumbnails and all this stuff. He was setting up funnels and he was doing an all right job. And then once we started making some money, we're hey, let's hire some solid talent that's going to build us badass funnels every time. The reason I like my funnel builder as well is because a lot of the businesses we're working with, they're not startups, they're pre-existing businesses. So often what we'll do is we'll mirror their website as far as the color scheme, fonts, logos, all of that, so that when we build out a funnel, it's congruent with their pre-existing brand, and that's just going to make for a more attractive operation overall for that client and for their reputation. And the reason a funnel is important, even if a client has a website, is because we're funneling ad traffic over to this funnel to attempt to data collect them and book them into a sales call. Websites are often too busy, too confusing, too wordy. We need to treat our leads like sheep, push them to one objective, in this case, a sales objective, booking a sales call, booking a sales appointment. So having a funnel builder on my team, someone that's artistic, allows me to not have to, spend years trying to become the next Vincent Van Gogh at building funnels when I know I'll never be fucking able to, right? So yeah, guys, from a high level, that's the whole team. I know this was kind of a long video, but I hope you kind of learned a thing or two. I tend to rant on these a little bit. But just to recap, we've got our media buyer that's actually going to be funneling in the top of funnel traffic and getting us that initial engagement. Typically what we'll do is Google, Meta, and LinkedIn. Meta's the heavy hitter though. Google depends, the business, same with LinkedIn. Funnel Builder would be next. All that ad traffic from the media buyer pitches over to the Funnel Builder's creation of trafficking leads through there, right? Obviously, we'll usually have an opt-in video, a VSL video, something like that, a lead magnet as well, and that's stuff that I'm still hands-on working on clients with as well to make sure we get them set up. Then the project manager will facilitate the fact that the devs have to set up the back end. So all of our opt-in leads are getting outreached by the AI appointment setter, conversing with the leads and trying to book them onto a sales call. And after we go live, the media buyer's job really just becomes continued management. For the sake of my internal operations, sales team, I'm the sales team right now, but in the future, this is a work in progress for me, getting a guy to take my sales calls. But then, going back to the PM, once we go live, really what we're doing then, like the devs will handle technical requests and conversation edits as need be based on live data. Funnel Builder, honestly, for the most part, his job is done unless we have a few tweaks here and there. But Funnel Builder is typically on a project basis, whereas my media buyer and my devs are hourly because there's always going to be new work to be done, right? And then the media buyer, after we go live, they're just doing weekly reports, launching new creatives just so we don't get complacent with creative exhaustion. That's an important part there. But yeah, the PM, me and the PM are like front of the lines with our clients, and the rest of our team is often more back end. I still have emails set up for everyone though, so everyone's still like an integral part of the team. But yeah, guys, that's kind of a look into the raw reality of a 35K, 40K a month AI agency owner / consulting firm. Hope you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, I'll leave my Instagram link down below. Feel free to hit me up if you have anything. Also, my booking link down below if you guys want to work with us. If you want help building out an AI system that'll actually book you sales calls. A big part of what we're doing here is building you an actual vehicle. We do build and release. So we'll create your vehicle for you. We'll help you run it for a couple months, and then we hand you the keys, and it's yours, send you on your way, and you now have an in-house system. So you're not having to pay any sort of monthly expenses. It's kind of the idea behind that. Granted, we do have a few clients that just love working with us, and just like how I'm saying, they're too busy with their own service delivery or their own product that they would rather just pay us to continue to run it, and that's how we've even got a bit of back-end MRR there, but that's situational. Typically how we do business, we'll do a build and release, we'll get you those results, and then once we've gotten you those results, we'll be like, hey, you guys want to keep running it? And that's usually how we secure a lot of our long-term golden clients, as I like to call them. Someone that's easy to work with, has a great offer, has strong buying power for ads, and from there, this just becomes a consulting firm, guys, right? We have new leads coming in, and we have pre-existing golden clients that keep us afloat as far as our guaranteed revenue month over month. You really need to be forward-thinking with things, especially if you're an AI agency right now. Don't get complacent and think that setting up a cool email automation or a cool N8N automation is going to make you rich forever. It's not the case. A lot of these course sellers out there right now, a lot of these kids that are online posting all this flashy shit, and it's like, oh, you can get like me selling AI. Oh, sell to local businesses. Oh, just do this and you'll make that. They're giving you an automation like, here, go sell this. But what they're not giving you is the proper guidance and understanding on how to build something that's going to actually last the fate of time, I suppose, in the sense that AI Gold Rush, I forecast maybe 2 more years before a lot of the flashy AI stuff, a lot of these crazy ads we're seeing is really going to become very commoditized. We saw it with dropshipping, we saw it with SMMA, we are going to see it with AI automation. Don't get me wrong, there's still people today that are printing in dropshipping, printing in SMMA, but it's a few fucking people, and they've got their shit down to a science. They're running a business, they're not running a side hustle anymore, and they're not doing it alone. They've got an army behind them. All right, guys, enough talking with me. I'll see y'all in the next video. Cheers.